Peace and blessings, everyone. Hi, welcome to day 10 of the Homeschool Upstart. This is Angela Jordan Perry joining you today. I hope and pray that the journey so far has been one of encouragement and enlightenment and freeing. And after today's conversation, I hope that it's even more freeing to you. This is the goal, to empower you and to not only empower you, but also, just let you know that you can stand, I guess the word is powerful, as the home educator of your children. And just knowing that you can do it and what that looks like and how that is fulfilled is totally within your power. So today on day 10, we are talking about standing in your power as the home educator. And this coaching is from a personal place, and which most coaching is from personal place, to share the experiences that you will not have to endure any heartache or any hurdles or mountains, or going around a mountain over and over again, and which I did, so that you can learn from them and catapult you, upstart you, that much more firmer on solid ground in your homeschool journey. Okay. So first of all, in this conversation here, I want you to know that, and I've said this before, and a lot of these things I will say you have heard before, but it will come with a lot more commentary from a personal point of view. But I will tell you that once you understand, and specifically, first of all, the laws of your state, okay, that alone, knowing the know, being in the know, empowers you, okay? And then just knowing that you were created, provided with divinely everything that you need to educate your child. And even when we feel like we fall short, or we feel that we don't have all the resources, or we feel, whatever that lack is, just know that if it's not divinely within us, then we are divinely equipped to find the resources that are needed for our child or children to excel in their homeschooling journey. We don't have to know it all. We don't have to be it all, but we have to at least be willing to step into that role as the home educator, where we're educating our own child, okay? So along those lines, the first thing that I want to point out to you is that, as I mentioned in other coaching, that you have the freedom to choose what your homeschool looks like. I mean, really think about that. While your state has laws and requirements, and maybe they spell them out to a certain degree, but within all of that is a lot of space and freedom in which you have to homeschool and home educate your child on your terms. I remember when I started homeschooling, and I know this to be true, when you don't know everything just right, and all the laws and the to's and not to's and all of that, you feel disempowered. You don't feel empowered to educate your child. And you're often seeking knowledge from a lot of people. And if you're not connected to the right people and right resources, they will have you all over the place, going here and there, all over the place, trying to understand what you feel and know or believe that you're lacking in knowledge of. And specifically, when I came to South Carolina from Virginia, and I was homeschooling now in a new state, I felt like a fish out of water. I knew the laws, and I had researched the laws before I moved here, but I still just didn't know a lot of information. And while my children were even in elementary school, I was already looking ahead to high school, saying, okay, what do I need to know for high school? I'm just the type of person who don't like surprises. I like to know. I want to be prepared. And so I didn't feel prepared for high school. So I met with a lot of different people my first few years here in South Carolina, just to learn about high school and what that needs to look like, and testing and preparing for that, and college and all of that stuff. And so I asked a lot of people, and believe it or not, all of them had different information to give me. And it was so frustrating. I just wanted information. And then at that time, I was a member of a homeschool association, and I kept trying to reach out to them, kept reaching out, not to get a hold of anyone. So there again, I was just left to my own recognizance and just ignorance, and just felt, again, not empowered. And one of the things I promised myself when I began this association is that I am going to empower families to homeschool their children. Okay. So let's talk about some things that you need to stand in your power as it relates to your home education. And these may be some things you've never thought about. But you get to choose if your child will be on a college prep course or not. Not all children are purposed and positioned to go to college, and it's okay. And even if your child is brilliant and you know that they are brilliant and academically strong, they may still not desire to go to college. I had that happen to me. It rocked my world. But once I got over that idea of my oldest, particularly, who I was grooming to go to college, and I just told you I was meeting with people here in South Carolina to prepare to get her to college. And then she said she didn't want to go to college. Her desire is to be an entrepreneur. Go figure that. Her dad, we're entrepreneurs, and myself, entrepreneurs. We have more, we're serial entrepreneurs. And so that was in her DNA. It is in her DNA. And maybe she will later decide to go to college. I don't know. But when she decides, it will be on her terms, right? You need to know as well, you have that freedom to have your child on a college prep track or not. Okay? And it's freedom and it's empowering to know that you can say, no, we're not doing it that way. Or yes, we are going to do it that way. Or yes, we're going to do it that way. But my children may not go to college, and I'm okay with that. Your child may decide to go to a technical school, and so their studies may be on a technical track. And what does that look like? Maybe they want to become a mechanic, or maybe they desire to become a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or a beautician or something like that, where it's a trade, something technical. And so a lot of their courses will be surrounded around or focused on those types of subjects that will aid them on their journey. Okay. Foreign languages. While many colleges may ask for foreign languages, and depending on the state that you're in, there may be a lot of requirements or chatter about your child taking a foreign language. Well, just know that they can do that or cannot. It's totally up to you. Stand in your power along with your child and see if that's something you'd like them to do and to study. Learning a foreign language, excuse me, I believe is beneficial, not just if they're going to college, but just living in a country that is multicultural and multilingual. There's a lot of different languages here. And so exposing them to a foreign language just for the sake of exposing them to that will be great. And a foreign language does include sign language. In South Carolina, sign language is officially recognized as a foreign language study. Okay, so you have that freedom to do that. And that's super exciting. All right, subjects. Let's talk about that. There are a plethora of subjects that are out there and available, right? And while again, your state may have subjects that are required that you must instruct in your schooling, some states don't have that requirement. South Carolina do require math, science, social studies, reading and writing. And then 7th to 12th grade must be literature and composition. But outside of those requirements, you get to add in whatever else you'd like your child to be studying and learning. That's a beautiful thing. And so the sky is the limit. If it's something that you're interested in, and now you are redeeming your education by teaching your children that or exposing them to that, go for it. That's exciting. Stand in your power and choose the subjects that are important to you all as a family, as humans, as citizens of this state. or this country, you know? So stand in your power in that and realize that you have that freedom. Don't limit yourself to just what, you know, public school or private school say, you know, that they give their students, or what, um, you know, is the normal subjects to be taught, but expose them to everything. You know, I had, let's see, I think she might have been in the 7th or 8th grade when my oldest, I had her study world religions. I wanted her not to just be of the faith that I was at that time, but I wanted her to be able to choose. You know, life is about freedom to choose because each one of us are human beings. And so I wanted to give her that freedom. So she studied world religions, and she studied, what was the other one? So not, I think it was sociology. That's not right. I can't think of philosophy. There we go. And I had her study philosophy and all of these subjects and things that she was interested in. She became more interested in Greek mythology. My son became interested in Japanese and culture and anime and all these things. And so the subjects became more diverse as they became older because their interests grew. So don't pigeonhole yourself to just math, science, social studies. You know, history is part of social studies. You know, they have to do government. That's a normal course of economics. Well, how about exposing them to debate? How about exposing them to rhetorical courses, rhetoric? How about exposing them to oral, forget, but I taught this class. It's skipping my brain right now. But I taught a Toastmaster class to teach them how to do oral presentation, how to be an orator. Okay, so think about all the different things that are out there. If they're interested in engineering, or maybe you all are driving down the road and realize that, you know, at a certain point of the road, we can go faster and the road is accommodatable to us speeding, where other parts of the same road, if we go too fast, then we're about to go off the road. What was the civil engineering that took place to make those changes in speeds on the same road? You know, there's certain things that are done, certain type of gravel that's used, certain things that's put into the gravel that allow us the freedom to be able to control the speed or be out of control and that speed on the same road. I think that's fascinating when I learned that. That is amazing. What about testing? You know, as your children go on through their studies, even into high school, you know, if you're coming from public school or private school where they did a lot of testing, and testing was the measurement of their, you know, their knowledge base, and just to see if they have come up, you know, come to understanding these subject matters. But what if you decide you don't want to do testing and you don't want to measure your child by an SAT score, or measure your child by an ACT score or PSAT score? These are things that are normally not PSAT, but ACT or SAT is normally what's required to go into college, a 4-year college. They want to see those scores. But more and more schools, you can check this out and research it yourself, but more and more schools are starting to do away with SAT and SAT testing. So you may say, that's not for us. That's not what we're interested in. Okay. Another thing we've talked about standing in your power is just you having the freedom to choose how many hours in the day you will have your schooling. Will you have it in the day, in the morning, or in the afternoon, or in the evening? Or will you school on the weekends? Will you take Monday and Tuesday off and have the rest of the week to study? Will you school just 3 days a week or 4 days a week? You have the freedom to choose that, particularly in the state of South Carolina. Long as you're, excuse me, within 180 days of school days, actual school days within a calendar year, from, say, today is, you know, what if it's September 1st, you have September 1st of the next year to reach that 180 days, right? So stand in your power that you can choose the schedule for your family, for your day, for the week, for the month, for the year, okay? How many maths to be completed? This is a big thing, and I mentioned these particular conversation pieces, because I've had so many families over the years. These are their concerns and worries. Do I have to have my child take, pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, what else is there? Advanced math, calculus, algebra 2. Does my child really have to take those maths because they don't like math and they're not going to college? That's not their course, but they really, really desire to become an entrepreneur, or they really, really desire. I had some families who said their child she desires to become a wife and a mother, and really don't care about the algebra 2 and pre-calculus and all these things like that. She wants to know day-to-day math that's going to help her in her everyday life. I said, go for it. Let her study, consumer math. Let her study business math. Present those maths to her that's going to be of benefit. And if you like to see a listing of a whole course, of different courses that's available, just look in the course manual for day 10 and you'll see the whole listing of courses that are available that you can create and decide upon for your child. It's pretty cool when you, as the home educator, get to stand in your power and choose the courses, or not choose specific courses that people always do, okay? The other thing is, standing in your power means that you don't have to do homeschooling like the next Blojo or the next family or however they're doing school. That's them. And you can leave it just with them to have freedom to thrive how they like, right? You get to be creative in your own power of what you desire your homeschool to look like. So just keep that in mind. And that is so freeing. As the job of, someone like me who give families legal status to homeschool in the state, my job is just to make sure that you know the laws under option 3, particularly, and as here in South Carolina, you need to know those laws so you can follow those laws. But outside of that, you get to create as you desire. What if you have a special needs child and your special needs child have some learning challenges in specific subjects? And so now you, as the home educator, get to decide and stand in your power if you will have your child to, take these extra, expose them to extra resources that maybe the state or the city is saying that you should do. It's always a should. And I remember when we adopted our younger 4 children, our twins, they were at the time 3 years old, and they were in preschool when we first came to know them. They were 3 years old. They were in preschool, which was amazing to see such a large school, but so many preschoolers in school all day. And they had, both of them, boy and a girl, had them separated from each other, which was very important that they would have stayed together. At that time, they were in foster care. We didn't foster care to adopt. We just went out. We just straight out adopted. But at that time, they were in foster care. Both of them were in separate classes, and they were both in special education classes. We were informed that our daughter, she had failure to learn, that she would never learn beyond a certain point because she has this learning challenge. And our son, our twin son, that he also had some special learning challenges as well. They didn't say his was as severe as our daughter's, but hers were definitely severe, okay? And I remember by this time I had been, let's see, they are 11 now, so that was 8 years. So by this time I had been homeschooling for 12 years, I believe, if my math is right. So I had been homeschooling for 12 years at that time. And I had come to understand standing in my power as a home educator. And I knew that, if we were indeed going to adopt these precious ones, then we would homeschool them. And with that in mind, then I did not want to hear them label them as special needs. And this is not being negligent. It was just based on our interaction with them. And I knew that my children were not special needs. They did not have learning challenges. And so when I met with them and they said, oh, Mrs. Perry, your daughter, she has failure to learn. She's never going to learn beyond this point. And I had already had interaction with them. And I remember saying, these children do not have special needs. There's nothing wrong with them. They're able to repeat, remember, recall, play games with me, learning games, and they were quick on the draw on these things. I was like, no, something's not right here. So I specifically told them, no, I'm going to withdraw them from 3-year-old pre-K. And also they were getting every day seemed like some type of intervention in the home, where they were play intervention or learning their colors, alphabets, number intervention, or OT, I think it's called OT or PT or something like that. They were getting all these different therapies and this and that and the other. And I was like, nope, I don't want any of it. You all can keep all of it. I appreciate all that you have done for them this far. And, we had to get the judge to approve. I told the caseworker, nope, I'm a homeschooling mom. And as a homeschooling mom, I teach and educate and equip children. And so I wanted to have that freedom to do that, especially giving them the freedom to go at their pace and explore and to learn the best way that they could, right? And so the teachers, administrators of this school, they all came to me and pleaded with me, Mrs. Perry, please, please, please don't do it. They need our services. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. I thank you. But I've been teaching now for that time, I guess it was 12 years, but I've been homeschooling for a long time. And I've taught children how to read. I've taught children how to thrive, to go at their pace, to catch up. I understand to some degree, just on a mama's level. I don't have a degree, but some on a mama's level of just how kids learn and their brains and how they're capable of adapting and what they need and how to stop and move and go and halt and all this. I studied children, my own children, for this many years, and we already had one adopted son, so he was number 5. Now we're adding 3 more, which now leads me up to 8. But I had studied these children for these years and just learned how children learn. And I figured I would do no less with our twins. So as a result, we pulled them out. And needless to say, long story short, neither of them have any learning disabilities or learning challenges. Zilch, zero, nada, nothing. And the sad story of this, although it turned out beautiful, like I said, they're 11 now. I have them doing some high school courses. They're learning foreign language. They're learning Spanish now. I've never halted them in presenting any academics to them. I may have had to slow down at some times on certain things, but that was just because their brains weren't ready to grasp maybe these algebraic, subject matter that I was presenting to them. And so when you present, this is another aside for you, but when you present a new concept to a child, just like if you're an adult and you presented something new, sometimes you don't get it right away and you have to sleep on it. You got to go away from it for a little while, not see that new thing for a little bit, and then be reintroduced to it. And then your brain is ready to receive it. Like, yes, it's like, now I got it. I have it. And so on some levels, on some things, I had to do that with them and with all my children, every single one of them. I would give them a new subject matter. Perhaps it's in math, and they cannot grasp it for nothing in the world. I said, oh, no worries. We'll leave this alone for a few days, and we'll come revisit it again. And we'll leave it alone for a few days, go back and revisit it, and they may still have a challenge on it. Oh, no worries. We will leave it alone till the next week, literally. We'll leave it alone for the next week and then present it back again. And guess what? Now their brains are open to receive and accept and understand and dissect, and they're happy. I'm happy. They've learned it, but it was on their timetable and at their pace. That's a beautiful thing. And so as the home educator, you get to stand in that power to observe your child's learning style and not allow a label, quote unquote, a label to stick with them. Had we not taken our precious twins out of this special education classes that they were in at 3 years old, they would have continued through their whole public school studies and learning labeled as special needs. Failure to learn is what, like I said, what they said about my daughter. My son, they didn't have a term for him, but they just said he was special needs. They would have had that through their whole education. And you know, like I know, you begin to conform to your environment. And so their environment looks like, feels like, and is treated as if they are special needs. And they would have continued to be that way. And that's heartbreaking because there's a lot of my twins who are out there in public school now, or private school, or maybe even in homeschool, sadly, where they're being taught and treated as special needs or special education children, and they're not. They have learning challenges, maybe, I don't know, maybe they don't. Maybe they're being forced to do something that they're not ready to do, but they will. You know, I start all my kids off at cursive writing at 4 years old, whether they're ready or not. They learn how to hold a pencil, and then we just keep plowing along with cursive writing. But guess what? At the beginning, they're kind of rocky until they get it, but now they all have beautiful penmanship in cursive. And standing in my own power as a home educator, that's important to me, that my children learn how to write in cursive. Some people say, hey, that's a dying, art, and that's being removed from the school. But I want you to know that many of our documents of this country, founding fathers' documents, are written in cursive. And important documents are written in cursive. And so if children can't read and understand cursive, let alone write it, then they're at a disadvantage. That's my opinion. So, but standing in your own home power as a homeschooler allows you and affords you the opportunity to say, my children will not learn cursive because I don't think it's important. I just want them to have a decent handwriting and they're fine. You get to choose and make that choice on your own, okay? And just to summarize this, and hopefully this gives you some framework now to digest and think about and consider, okay? Where in your schooling, where in your educating your child, where in disciplining your children? I mean, you get to stand in your own power as a parent, how you desire to discipline your child. You get to say what you can or cannot do or will not do, or how you will do the disciplining of your children, because you're the parent. So just keep that in mind, that you get to have that same freedom and power as you educate your child. You get to decide. This is not to make us arrogant. By any means, it's not meant to make us arrogant. Hey, this is my kid. I can teach him how I want to. So, step off. We don't want to have that type of attitude, but it's just the confidence that you need to have, the confidence that you need to embrace, and the confidence you need to embolden yourself within, that now you can home educate freely on your terms and in your way. Okay? So keep that in mind. And now is your time to just dream again and think about what that looks like. Remember, if I can tell you anything more important, I want you to walk away understanding, is that the more knowledge you have and understanding about this homeschooling journey and how-tos of getting into college or graduation or getting a job employment for your kids, or how to teach them a certain subject or not teach them certain subjects, or how long to stay on a certain subject, the more that you have this knowledge base, the more empowered you are. And the more you're able to dispel bad information that you receive, because knowledge is power, right? Not even is knowledge power, but using the knowledge is powerful. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and enjoy the journey. And I hope that this coaching session will empower you to be all that you need to be for your children. No one knows them better than you. Now, on the other side of that, I will just say real briefly is that, being open to insights from others is okay too. We don't want to negate others' opinions, and we should always balance those out with ours, and with our own thought process, about whatever the case may be in home education. Balance it out. Don't let one override your own convictions or feelings or thought processes. Okay, balance it out, hear what others have to say, if they have suggestions, etc., but then move on from there. And it's always wise to get wise counsel from others. And this is what this guidance and this coaching that I'm giving you here is to give you some wise counsel and encouragement as you move forward in your homeschooling. Okay. All right. So take care. And here's to you on the upstart of your homeschooling journey. Be empowered and homeschool strong. Peace and blessings, everyone.